Alrighty guys, some of you that have been with my channel since the beginning, or at least, you know, for a while, might know about this thing, which used to be the only thing I had and the only thing I uploaded, but it was very irregular, you know, no basis on anything. I just uploaded when I felt like it, which honestly I haven't been consistent recently. I've been trying to get out at least one a month. Actually, I'd like a couple a month because I got a backlog of a bunch of videos I need to edit and get out. But yeah, I haven't been regular for the last about 6 months or so. I've kind of slowed down. That's just laziness on my part on editing. Yeah, this is my 2000 Cherokee, and some of you may notice the rims are different from the last time I may have posted the video on it. They're over here, along with the old tires, which are worn out because I never got an alignment when I redid the front end for the death wobble issue. But it's also the roof rack's off a bit, but the roof rack's over here. I'm putting the roof rack back on. I just took it off because, like I said, it was sitting for about 8 months, so I had to clean it. Not only clean it for sitting for 8 months, but I haven't honestly washed this thing, truly washed it, in about 4 years. I've sprayed it off with a pressure washer, but I haven't washed it. And I mainly let rain do it because I wasn't driving it that regularly, because I had death wobble issue, and that I let happen, and it was on and off the street for a couple years due to that, and then it sat. And then so I was strictly driving the Yukon, and then I finally got this fixed, and then I was driving this, and then I was hopping back and forth, and then I got my new job, and this hates highway mileage due to the no gearing, so I didn't drive it as much because the highway experience, I should say, driving, it doesn't really like to keep 70. It likes to go a little bit faster, but when you go a little bit faster, it's got driveline vibrations. Due to the front drive shaft being worn out, so I usually take that out, but it's still got a little bit of vibration, so it's, you know, so I just drove the Yukon because it was easier to get an easier highway, and then alternator went out and set more, but anyway, so yeah, I got new rims and tires, just got some Pro Comp 15-inch 15 by 8 D windows, and I just got some it doesn't say the brand name on the tire, it's just a little cheap mud tire. I didn't pay that much for them. It's 32 by 1150 15s. I wanted to get 32s, a little bit bigger. I didn't quite want to go 33s yet, though now that I see I can go 33s no problem, but I don't want to go 33s until I gear it. Just driving it around like this, I can definitely tell it's bogging down from what it's used to. As far as the outside, I'm going to have to give it another wash. It's just, you know, sitting and stuff. But my cowl hood is in rough shape. All the Bondo and stuff came off. It didn't stick very good. But main reason is my buddy told me when he put the Bondo on it. I built the hood. I welded it, and then he put the Bondo on it. But he told me I had to put a lot of Bondo on it, and I mean, I was there while he was doing it. This thing has a lot of Bondo on it, a lot, just to get it smooth. It looked great for about 6 months, and then it started, the heat got to it, the vibration got to it, because this piece of steel right here is actually too thin, and it started separating in the back, and then water runs its way down, and then, yep. I need to get it off, put my stock hood back on it, get this back to him, let him bust all the Bondo off, and I'm just going to get him the fiberglass. The fiberglass will hold up better to the heat, and it shouldn't have a problem sticking, as long as this steel is still good and not rotted away. I'm going to try to get it painted the same way. You can't tell because I don't have any light, but this actually has green flake in it, and when the sun hit it just right, it looked great. Yeah, still got the headlights and stuff in it. I still haven't wrapped my winch back up. But one thing I've done for the last month and a half or so, about every weekend I come out here. As you can see, there's no more carpet. If you knew anything about the interior, I don't have the seat covers in anymore. Because seat covers were trashed for me off-roading it. Carpets were trash. They're caked in mud. I could have cleaned everything and put it back in, but my passenger side of the dash leaks over there. I think I got a bunch of mud in the cowl, and it's overflowing from the cowl into the HVAC box is what it looks like. So I'm going to have to pull the dash to, well, I'll get to that. But I want to pull the dash to kind of fix that and clean that up. I think I can get that all without doing that, but there's another reason I need to pull the dash. But I've spent the last couple of months pulling all this out. If any of y'all follow my Instagram, you'll see all the pictures that I posted. But yeah, I pulled the carpet out. I just got the seats back in it now. But I got a slight water leak over here, but I know it's coming through the firewall where I got all my wires running through. Another thing that I did is when I took everything out, there was a bunch of, let's just say, stupid stuff I did back in the day. A bunch of little things that I added, and I had a whole bunch of unnecessary wiring running down just all over the place. Wiring that honestly wasn't that great. I did what I needed to do back then to get it done, and it was stupid. You know, I wasn't going out and buying full spools of wire. I was using whatever wire I could and butt splicing stuff all together. It was bad. So I ripped practically all that stuff. I ripped all of it out. The only stuff I kept is the lights going to these pods, which honestly you could use some cleaning up. But as of right now, it's working fine. I don't need it. I ripped the wires out to go to those. Because they had shorted out not long after I put them up there. I used them maybe once or twice, and next couple times I tried to use it, immediately popped the fuse. I don't know where it was shorting out, but I had ripped all that wiring out. I was done with that. I had my wiring for my roof lights running. I think I did a video on the install. I ran it through the fender, through right here, and up this seal, and then up through here, and then around the side. Well, that caused a bunch of wind noise. So, this isn't the original one. The original one I had to cut to get the wire out. I ordered these off eBay. They're smat. Well, no, that's the design is supposed to be, I think. Yeah, but you can't buy these anymore that I could see. So I got them used off eBay. I got a set for both sides. Haven't really driven it on the highway, so I don't know about the wind noise. I know this has always had a wind noise since I had it. In fact, when we first bought it, we put some string in there to get this down some more for the window. So I'm going to need some more of this. But, so that was a bad idea. So what I did, ran it the proper way, ran it down through here. And when I first ran the wiring for the daylighters that I had up there, I wanted to run it out this hole right here. Well, I thought it was multiple pieces and you couldn't run a wire. It's not. There's actually a block of foam that starts somewhere about right here and goes up to about right here. So if you had one of those fiberglass snakes that you use for firewall, you could punch right through it and pull the wire up. I didn't know that, and I was planning on it anyway, so I just drilled a hole right here, put a grommet in it. I used paint. I don't know if you could tell. I have some paint match paint from when I built those turn signals in the front. So I just painted it with that, put the grommet in it, put the wiring through, drilled 2 more holes for a zip tie, again, painted the holes, ran it up to here, drilled 2 more holes, again, painted it, put one right here because you need one up at the top to get this really close to the drip rail so the door will open and close fine. The door's not even hitting it. Granted, that's because the door's sagging a little bit, but so route this up. I got it right there for now. I got a solid, probably just gonna butt connect. Put the ends back on it so I can put my light bar back on it. I took my vent visors off of it because they needed to be redone. All this stuff was faded, or it was bad. It wasn't sticking anymore after 10 years. So I ripped them off, and I was going to put it back on. Well, I was taking one side off, and I grabbed it wrong. I thought I could just pull it. I thought I grabbed it right, and when I went to pull it off, I got one side off fine, then got the one before the last one, tried to rip it off, and it snapped. So I might put them back on, I might not. Or excuse me, I might buy some more, I might not. I cleaned up all the mud. I took all the side panels off, got all the side panels cleaned of mud. The seats could use for a little bit more cleaning. Some of the edges where the seat cover was lifting up are a little bit dirty. You still see I got mud on here, but I can fix that later on. You might notice this door panel's off. That's because after sitting 8 months, I have a wiring problem. Compounding wiring issue, I should say. Started off with one thing, then went to two things. That second thing kind of disappeared. It hasn't come back yet, but then I got a third thing right now. I don't know if anything else is going to happen, but somewhere between this door lock switch and that door lock switch, the lock feed that feeds into that switch, which is actually the master switch, it's got the relays and stuff in it, is grounded out. It's a ground switched lock circuit. So it's trying to lock the doors the whole time. So the lock connector, which is that big connector right there, that wire right there, I depinned that connector from the door. So I depinned it so I didn't have to deal with it. Well, the second issue that popped up that has now disappeared was horn honking. Whenever my dome lights were on, my horn was honking. That disappeared on its own. I could probably go over there and move that wiring harness and maybe it'll start again. I don't know. Third thing, which is most recent, flasher relay. My flasher relay is constantly ticking. It's not doing it right now, but it is doing it, or it was doing it when I had it running. It was doing it on its own, not running, but then it did it running. And it didn't matter if I pulled the fuse out or anything, it was still doing it. So it's getting power from somewhere, I don't know. These phantom wiring issues. I went to the sources, connectors, where I could see the wiring before it goes behind up in the dash. And from what I can see, I don't see anything. I don't see any, mice chewing on anything. As it was sitting on and off, I had a mice make a nest underneath the back seat. And it could have been there for years. I mean, all it was paper and stuff. Nothing, nothing else. It was just paper wrapped up or ate up. But I didn't lift my back seat because I had a seat cover on it, and it was a pain in the butt to unhook the seat cover to get to the underneath the rear seat. So that could have been there for a while and not knowing about it. But they also got in my console, because there was the center console, because there was some wiring in there that got ate up too, or not wiring. There was a piece of paper in there that got ate up too. So I know they've been behind the dash. So there's probably something chewed up that I'm not gonna be able to see until I start majorly pulling the dash apart. So I just went the lazy route. I could probably go and try to find where that short is, but with as many problems as there is, it could be one spot or it could be multiple spots. So I just went on eBay, and the wiring harnesses for this thing, used, not new, they're like $1,500, but used I was able to get them only for a little over $100 for both of them. So I got the main wiring harness that's over here on the driver's side, and then I got the harness that jumps over from the driver's side down the center console and also goes to the passenger side. It has a big 4-way bulk connector, and when I was disconnecting that connector, the horn in lock stopped, acting up. So I'm hoping it's in that harness. As far as the door locks are, no, as far as the the flasher module, it was actually a bulk connector on this side, and I should have both of those wiring harnesses. Another reason I'm getting a wiring harness, I'm not pulling this out, but I've talked about it in the past. This is alarm. Well, this has an alarm on it, and a remote start that I added. That's, the remote start that I added isn't really that much of an issue, because I soldered it and I did it as neat as I could around the explosion of wiring which is down there from the alarm that was professionally installed. The guy who installed it let's just say he did it, but he forgot to do the immobilizer on it. So we had to go back like a week later, or a week and a half later, and that guy was fired. He was gone. So apparently he wasn't very good. And judging by the way he installed the alarm, it is bad. He cut right into this main harness that goes up to the steering column. It's just a splay of wire. Nothing's neat, nothing zip tied. It's just thrown in there like somebody just thrown in there like a second grader just went around and started cutting and splicing wires. It's bad. And that could be part of the issue with my wiring, considering it has to do with the flasher module, the horn. What the horn's not connected to it, but and the door locks. So it could be that. And the harness that I got deletes all that, so I'm losing my alarm, which is fine for me until I get the same alarm I got for my Yukon, which is actually an upgraded version. The only thing is you can't get a T-harness anymore, which sucks, so I'm going to have to, recut back into the harness like I did, but I'll try to find a place that's not as bad. Bully Dog is the only place that I know that made a T-harness for this and the Yukon, and maybe the Sonoma. They still make the one for the 96 and back Cherokees. They don't make the one for the 97 and up Cherokees. That is discontinued. Don't know why. It sucks. And I've looked and looked and looked and looked. Same way with the Yukon. You can't get the T-harness for the Yukon anymore. But, yeah, there's a gremlin worth of wires in here. I actually just now got the interior back together. Yeah. Another thing is, I ripped a bunch of wiring out. Actually, most of the wiring under the hood was already ripped out, so that was fine. I got to redo some of this. I got to put some sleeving on this. I got to redo some of these connectors. This is actually the relay that goes to my reverse lights, so I need to kind of bundle these wires together and make them neat where they're not just out in the open. But yeah. Also, I don't know if anybody else is having this problem with the V-Series light bars. That is the V-Series light bar harness, or module. You can see how expanded that is. It's bloated really bad. Light bar still works, colors still work, so this engine bay gets hot, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's heat related. But yeah. I do like the way I did this wiring, though. I really like the way it came out. I just wish I would have actually went out this hole. And actually, I plan to make my own roof rack eventually. And when I do, I'm actually going to have some pods in the front that face out 45 degrees. And I'm going to have probably a light bar in the back. And maybe a couple pods facing the side. But, so I can have 360-degree light. When I take this thing trail riding, I don't think this thing's ever going to see mud anymore if I can help it. That was a pain in the butt going through and cleaning all this. And it was mainly my fault for not actually cleaning it after every use and this and that. I just neglected it, let it go, and it just got really bad. Which, if this was still my daily driver, I wouldn't have let that happen. But because I had two other vehicles, I kind of pushed it to the side and pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off, and it just happened. Yeah. But yeah, when I try to run those other light bar things, I want to try to bring it up through here on the other side. Just get a fiberglass snake and snake it down, see if I can pull it up through here and get it out right here, so it's not right here, even though that's not bothering anything. But yeah, what I'm fixing to do, I don't know if I'm going to make a video on it, but I need to adjust my caster angle. It's at like plus 10 degrees, or negative 10 degrees. It's supposed to be plus 10 degrees, or it's like 7-ish degrees. So it wanders all over the road. It's been doing that since I actually redid the front end, and now I actually know why. Don't know why, but I didn't even think about doing the caster. And I've been driving it, and ever since I put the gearbox in and some other stuff in it, it's been wandering all over the road, and I couldn't understand why. I know the gearbox is reman. That's probably part of it. It's a little bit vague, but I think it's also my caster angle, which is really extreme. But yeah, this has basically just kind of been a update video along with a rambling video along with what's been going on with this thing. It needs brakes all the way around, which is, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. I've been doing a lot of off-roading, a lot of mudding, but yeah, should be able to start it. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a tiny little clicking. That clicking is the flasher relay. And along with that clicking, really, really flat, fast turn signals. So, yeah, I love the way this sounds. I'm happy with the way the exhaust is, other than the fact it's a little too loud. I love it, but after driving it for a while, it does kind of get stale. So I want to take it. All it's got on it is I got an exhaust video on it, but all I got is a straight pipe into a Glasspack into duals, and I want to change that Glasspack out for a MagnaFlow, a short MagnaFlow, kind of. Not as big of one that I put on the Sonoma, a smaller one, just so it keeps a little loudness. But yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll end this here. It's mainly been a lot of rambling, just kind of an update with what's been going on with this thing, and yeah. Hopefully it never gets like that again. And I don't plan on it getting like that again. Ever. That's... I kick myself for letting it get that bad. And then... 90s Chrysler wiring issues. 90s and 2000s crappy Chrysler wiring. Though, I don't think that's all Chrysler's fault. I think a lot of it's... I had a critter going up there and it did something. Because I had no issues when the alternator went out. I had no issues. I had some door lock problems, but they weren't this bad. I just go over there when the passenger door master switch and unlock and lock real fast, and then my door locks would start working again. That might have been a precursor, but I don't know. And then it set for about 6 to 8 months after the alternator went out due to laziness of not wanting to change it out. And when I first changed it out, it was fine. And then a couple weeks later, I decided, all right, I'm going to start cleaning it. And then the issues started getting worse and worse and worse. So, yeah. It's just an update video. I'll probably do a full walk around, I don't know, later on. This is just kind of a little bit of an overview on what's been going on with it. And, yeah. I'll talk to y'all later.